I thought it would be helpful to talk about where we're at as a country really quickly here. Because, look, we're 2 months into the Trump presidency. Things are going very well. The country is very happy with it. Trump himself posted on social media today 57% approval. That's really high for a modern day president. The country's happy. You're happy. I'm happy. I thought it would be helpful, though, to discuss what we have ahead of us here. Because things are going well. But what does that mean? Well, here's what it means. The United States of America is now, still, currently, and has been very, 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 very sick. We'll go ahead and call it cancer for the purpose of our analogy here tonight. And look, I just lost another family member to cancer. I'm well aware of what that word means to people, so I'll be as delicate as I can, but I don't know that there's a better way to describe where we are as a country. We have developed cancer. And I say developed, that's really putting it nicely. People with names and addresses have given this country cancer on purpose. Communism, Marxism, it has infected this country. And it's not, we didn't catch it early. I'll put it to you that way. Year after year after year, decade after decade, the cancerous tumor of Marxism has been growing inside the body of the United States of America. And for our purposes, we'll make this a little bit more narrow tonight. It's been growing inside the United States government, inside our political body, inside the bureaucracy. Year after year after year, through focused effort on their part and negligence on our part, they have been hiring as many committed communists to occupy the government as humanly possible. As fast as they could possibly bring them in the door, they brought them in the door. And remember, this was a focused effort by the American Democrat, by the American communists. Remember, we would get stories really towards the end of the Biden presidency, about the last year, these really ramped up where you'd wake up and you'd see another massive crop of federal employees were just hired. The Biden administration just grabbing people from the private sector and hoovering them up into the federal government as fast as they could, almost like they had a purpose. 87,000 new IRS agents. They made sure that was part of their signature bill. Get them in, more. Why? Well, what is the communist? He is a revolutionary. He is a religious zealot and a revolutionary. And wherever you put him, you could put him as head of the Cub Scouts. You could put him coaching a little league team, your child's social studies teacher, or you could put him in the IRS, the FBI. He's going to evangelize on behalf of communism, and he will do so in a committed fashion, and the American Democrat knows that. Year after year after year, decade after decade, these people have wormed their way into the federal government, and where we are now as a country, Trump or no Trump, is we are very, very, very sick. And the reason I chose to use cancer is a tough nut to crack. It's very difficult, and I'm certainly not the cancer expert. I just have multiple loved ones I've lost to that terrible, terrible disease. It's just very difficult to kill it without killing the person you're trying to help. You know this, and we'll talk about chemotherapy, but it could apply to really so many forms of cancer. You have this malignant group of cells that's growing inside the body. That's American Marxism. And it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. It's growing inside of our government. As we speak, it's growing. And you have to not only stop the growth, you must remove it. You must remove the cancer. But it's not just remove some of it. The thing is about cancer, you have to get it all. You have to get every part of it. Even if you leave just one little speck of it left in there, well, that part's just going to start growing and growing. You're going to have the same problem again. You must get it all. But, well, that's the other challenge, right? You have to get it all, but there's good stuff around it. There are essential things around it. How do you make sure you get it all that cancer, while not cutting around so much stuff that you kill the person you're trying to save? Which brings us to what the Trump administration is doing now and where we are. We are not saved. We are not on the road to recovery. The election of Donald Trump, bringing in people like Elon Musk and others, what it did was it got us an appointment with the doctor, and we are currently under the knife on the operating table. And that's what really draining the swamp is.
federal bureaucrat who resists this change will be removed from office immediately. Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
I love that. I cheered. Hopefully you cheered, clapped, at least on the inside when he said it. I love it. He said it many times. Drain the swamp. We're not going to be run by these dirty communist bureaucrats anymore. Yes, 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 that sounds good. We know the IRS is reportedly cutting 50% of its workforce. DOD, 5%, 8%, depending on who you talk to. You wake up every single day, you pick up your phone and you look and they're cutting these people, they're cutting those people, cuts here, cuts there. And Central Intelligence Agency is not exempt from this. They're reportedly pulling people off-site. Hey, give me your security badge. Starbucks is on me. By the way, you're out of a job. So all these things are good. I want you to celebrate them. I'm celebrating them. Elon came out and said it might be the first time this kind of thing's actually working.
I mean, the reality is that very little power relative to the bureaucracy until DOGE. So DOGE is a threat to the bureaucracy. It's the first threat to the bureaucracy. Normally the bureaucracy eats revolutions for breakfast. This is the first time that they're not, that the revolution might actually succeed, that we could restore power to the people instead of power to the bureaucracy.
So good things are happening. And they are afraid. And we are under the knife. And as of right now, surgery is going well. My point for this talk tonight is just so we all understand that this is going to be painful, even if the surgery, and I hope it is, even if it's a huge success, if they get every single bit of the cancer out, even a perfect surgery at this point in time is still going to involve pain, a recovery period. You can't, as a country, allow yourself to get this sick for this long and then come out of it without pain. We want a quick fix. We want this or that. If you ever read, or maybe you have any complaints about the Trump administration so far, why haven't they done this yet? Why haven't they done that yet? I get that. Totally fair to criticize your government as well. Not complaining about you at all. But this kind of surgery, this much recovery is going to be painful because we are, not we were, we are very, very, very sick. You remember the report about ICE. Now this is really one of those things when you take a moment and you really just take in the whole story, it's even more amazing. You remember the story came out that ICE was still conducting raids. But what was their policy? You've heard Tom Homan talk about it. We've talked about it a million times on the show. They're going after the worst first, the worst first, the worst first. That was their priority. Public safety threats first. You've heard that. What does that mean? Well, remember, foreign countries under Democrats emptied their prisons and mental institutions into our country. It's not just that we have people from Venezuela here. We have the worst scumbags in Venezuela here, sent here by Venezuela, and accepted here, oftentimes flown here by American Democrats. That's what happens when you vote Democrat. We're talking people convicted of child rape, serial murderers. Our ICE is out there hunting these people down first. Hey, let's get these people first. And remember we woke up and there was a story one day that someone inside the government had given the child rapists a heads up that ICE was coming so they couldn't be arrested? Kristi Noem, to her credit, came out because I was calling for it. I didn't want to hear about firings. I wanted to hear about prison. Here's what she said.
There's leakers all over throughout this government. I think that everybody needs to be, I think these, and DHS specifically, these two, were leaking our enforcement operations that we had planned and we're going to conduct in several cities and expose law enforcement to vulnerabilities, to those ops being jeopardized to where their lives would be in danger. So they will be prosecuted and they could face up to 10 years in federal prison because they did that.
And they better. And they better, because the system is digging in. The system is fighting a revolution. As I said, we didn't used to have, we currently have cancer of the terminal variety. We are in emergency surgery, and it must be successful. They will fight. Why do you think we still don't have that Epstein list? Look, maybe you can yell and scream all you want. Maybe you're right. Maybe Pam Bondi is a disappointment, as I told you she very well might be initially. Maybe the system, maybe our evil system we have, maybe the system is in there protecting the billionaire, politician, pedophiles on that list. Did you see what came out? This is from Center for Renewing America. You know, we talk a lot about DEI stuff, DEI this, DEI that. Do you know how much of your money has been used to spend on the cultural Marxist destruction of your country? $1 trillion. Political ideology aside, how many people will do very bad things to protect $1 trillion business of theirs where they get to make money on DEI? We are not done with surgery. We are not cured, not by a long shot. We are in the middle of it. And what we are going to go through in this next 4 years as the Trump administration focuses on this stuff is going to be painful. And there are going to be ops and propaganda pieces against it. You're going to see media story after media story of them trying to defend the $1 trillion scam they've maintained forever. The cancer wants to remain. We have to gird our loins and be ready for what is going to be a very long surgery, and even if it's successful, a very long recovery. That's what happens when your country is neglected for as long as it has been. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.